So what's up everyone? Welcome back to your channel Brighter Life Institute. I am Alicia. On the 26th July 2023, a coup happened in Niger, Africa, where the military removed the president. They removed President Mohamed Bazoum and the General Abdourahamane Tchiani claimed to be now the new person in charge. I'm someone that always had some bit of difficulty to understand why such a resourceful country like Africa, and we're talking about the majority of all countries in Africa, are seen by many Western countries as poor, that Africa is poor, the people there is poor. I could never understand that, because Africa has so many resources. We're talking from the lands, the animals, the forests, the mineral, the diamond, the golds in that continent. But still, Africa is really seen as a poor, undeveloped country. Many people have spoken that yes, Africa is not that poor. It's actually the most resourceful continent on planet Earth. But where the problem lies is such a place are really badly governed, or there are corruption. Here in Niger, the people of Niger feel that their country have been governed not in the right direction for benefiting their people. Many of the young Niger feel that the president needed to be removed. The news that we hear in France, as there are quite a revolt and rejection and claim to request that France, especially the French military that was apparently there to protect and push some kind of terrorism, have been seen by the local people to be the problem. But in the news in France, we've seen that some of the French newspaper and also program are talking that it is not the African Niger that is asking to remove France or who else has a Western power in Niger, but it is Putin, Russia, that is paid some people to protest, burn things, and doing all these little problems in that place. You guys know the story. As you can see, this talk about what is happening with this coup everywhere right now. The West are concerned, especially France. I am French and I will always support France. But where I do not support as a human being is unfairness, no matter your nationality, your color, or who you claim to be. I feel that some of those Western countries right now are totally misreading the situation, or they just politely ignoring that it is very much the people of Niger that is requesting the removal of the president that they suspect to be a bit corrupted and to be a little puppet of the Western. Many countries in Africa feel that some Western power that were the colonialism and the imperialism that say that they are a democracy, but a democracy that is very much controlled, as they put in place puppets that they has the string attached in the back to say and do what they tell them to do. A president of a country that especially to be said to be democratic should represent his people. But here, the people of Niger do not feel at all that this president they had, and what again was his name? President Mohamed Bazoum. It's just a puppet of the West. Many countries that were governed, colonized by France, partly or totally, have requested to be left alone. We wonder why they are not enjoying the companies of France in their country or other Western power. The country of Madagascar was once one of those countries where German, British, and especially France took over the country. Well, partly. They never had full possession and control of that country. In the time that France came over, feeling superiority above the people that live in Madagascar, there was a queen there. Queen Rana Vonola I told the French, "We are open to do an exchange of culture, but in no way do not see my people as indigenous and people lower than where your people come from." A war went on for many years in Madagascar against France because of this. My father's family is part of the French military to show presence of France in Madagascar. I can tell you, after 2 generations of that same family in Madagascar, the whole side of the family feel Malgache at heart. They absolutely do not stand for France. I may be the only person in my family that feel French, as I only grew up with the French culture. But still, for me, there is no nationality and no country apart to be human, and I do not stand for injustice no matter the country, the culture, and what I carry. What is happening here in Niger is something that is going to happen more often. That many countries in Africa feel that their resources have been exploited by Western power that is not really bringing much benefit to their country. Puppets have been put in place by Western power to make sure that this benefit to them continue when the population that is living in those countries are seen as cockroach, people that are not deserving, not educated, not developed, not worth nothing. So I can understand why there is an uprising in Africa. Now, Emmanuel Macron, that is always so elegantly and so up to point to always say the wrong thing, continue to do so. He did it to upset the French people, and now it is very much upsetting, to not say flaming, the people in Africa. I truly believe that an attack for any foreign intervention, and we also hear this member of those puppets in Africa, they are African, but make no mistake about it, they are puppets of the Western. They have let their voice know that if the president are not reinstated, they will take action with the military. Now, those nations has no much power or military power to take that action. They will need their master that have been controlling them for centuries to help them out. This will be a bigger mistake, as the puppets, they may not represent the real voice of the people that they claim to represent. An attack on Niger by any foreign country will be such a big mistake. It will unite whole Africa against that foreign countries. As the commander and the general well said, that any intervention will be a declaration of war. France has a lot to lose, as they want the resource in Niger. Many foreign countries are very much interested by the place. How great! But they are not interested by the place to invest on helping the people. And we are seeing this all the time, too often. When I discovered the atrocity that the Belgian king did in Congo, it's incredible that we're not talking about it. We can talk about the Nazi Heil Hitler, but we don't hear to talk about if France go to war with Niger. I have no doubts that this will unite all countries in Africa. And so France also will have a bit of trouble in their own territory with their dom-tom that are very close to those places. They are very close to Africa. And since the shooting of the young Nile, 17 years old, that is African descent, And everyone watch the response in France that they deny there are racism happening in France, that is discrimination in a level of employment happening in France. It's a disgrace, really. I'm French, but I cannot support injustice. And so I believe what is happening is the true voice of the Niger people. It is not Putin. But France have been here before. It has been here before to not listen, and especially we have a very interesting president, Emmanuel Macron, that is not listening to the French people or to anyone. I believe the situation have truly some potential to escalate in Niger, as they truly do not understand that the people have enough. It is true that Black Africans have been really pictured as people that has no education. They are stealer, they are nothing, they are poor, and we talk about a lot about immigration, but we don't talk about that. In the first place, many of those people in Africa was brought by those Western countries, want to also fight in the Nazi war battles against Germany, and to exploit and take the resource. I think a fair trade will be more amicable than force. It is about time that an exchange, a fair one, happen in Africa, between Africa and those Western countries, that maybe investing in Africa and finding a diplomatic way to resolve the conflict than using military, who's going to be a very bad idea, will be better for everyone. The people have enough, and I believe they will fight the last man to make some of those countries understand they have enough. Africa is not a poor country. We just have made it this way, and that's because we have put puppets in place to make sure that they stay this way. So yes, this is my view on the matter. Doesn't mean I'm anti-French, I will never be, but still, I'm for human and human rights. These people who we say to be democratic have the right to remove a president that is not working for their people. There are corrupted votes in the election, so we could never get a fair, ending. The general that had took the country right now into power is talking that an election, a new one, need to happen. The people have the right, a free country, to decide what is best for them, and not having interference from outside country, especially in the Western, to tell them what is good for them and what is not. Obviously, it is clear that for centuries what is good for them was never good for the people that were in those countries. When we see how they decapitated children, women, and men in Congo, for what for? For fun? How can people, keep accepting this? Africa is a rich country. There's a lot of resources, and it's about time that some people understand the only way they're going to get access to those resources is by making a fair exchange and not putting puppets to serve the master. The time of doing that is very much over, long time ago. So I hope a fair deal are going to be found, as a military intervention, as I said, would be a very big mistake. But I think, as we have Emmanuel Macron, mistake is likely to happen. Yes. It is not the claim that they want to put back that president that was removed, to reestablish and to fight for freedom and democracy. Is not true. The people of the country, if they are not free, and they are being used to serve an outside power, an outside intervention, they are not free. That is not democracy. So they need to realize that people cannot be brainwashed all their life, especially now that we have the internet and other way that we can see what's going on. People in Africa are not stupid. They can count. They really can come to their own conclusion. They don't need any outside helper, and nobody's looking for a master to serve anymore, apart those puppets that they put in place, those that are really ashamed to be claiming themselves to serve the people in the government, but they are not really doing that. So this is the video I wanted to make today. Some of you have discussed this on the internet, seeing it clearly as well, and I wanted to give my little take about it. I also want to finish this video with the message of one of the military person that talk over the presidency in Niger. I found his word very touching. His bravery just undefinable, and I see a man that is speaking sense, not a dictator. He's speaking sense. He's speaking like a hero. He's speaking for the people. His people. And I wish that also the French people will not support any military intervention in Niger or anywhere for the prophet. Our President Emmanuel Macron has just been totally a president that is not speaking for his people, or nobody in France, in my view, is showing a very bad side of just dictatorship in our country as well. And make sure that the people, the French people, will also let their voice known. If a military intervention is carried by France, that this will not be supported back at home. But any military action in Niger is surely will backfire, as it will unite Africa together. I have no doubt about that. So I leave you with the video, and I thank you so much for having watched this video with me today. Bye.
The questions my generation is asking are the following, if I can summarize. It is that we do not understand how Africa, with so much wealth on our soil, with generous nature, water, sunshine and abundance, how Africa is today the poorest continent. Africa is a hungry continent, and how come there are heads of state all over the world begging? These are the questions we are asking ourselves, and we have no answers so far. We have the opportunity to forge new relationships, and I hope that these relationships can be the best ones to give our people a better future. My generation also asks me to say that because of this poverty, They are forced to cross the ocean to try to reach Europe. They die in the ocean, but soon they will no longer have to cross because they will come to our palaces to seek their daily bread. As far as what concerns Burkina Faso today, for more than 8 years we've been confronted with the most barbaric and the most violent form of imperialist neocolonialism. Slavery continues to impose itself on us. Our predecessors taught us one thing: a slave who cannot assume his own revolt does not deserve to be pitied. We do not feel sorry for ourselves. We do not ask anyone to feel sorry for us. The people of Burkina Faso have decided to fight against terrorism in order to relaunch their development.
That's